Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another episode, reaction and review. And this is to an episode that I've been anticipating, which is episode 23 of season 9 of MLP, the Big Mac question. Now, I've avoided all spoilers with this. However, because of the title of the episode, I'm already guessing that Big Mac proposes to Sugar Belle, which is going to be so cool and cute. Or who knows, maybe she actually proposes to him. That would also be equally cute. So let's dive in and see what happens, because I'm extremely curious and I want to see it. Sadly, I don't think we're going to see the actual wedding in the show, but that's up to the fanfiction writers. So let us begin and see what cuteness awaits. Start a video. 3, 2, 1, click.
I just wanted everything to be perfect. I mean, this was a big deal. But when Discord insists on being involved...
Regardless of what Spike might say, that little dragon begged me to help. And let me tell you, he can cause plenty of chaos all on his purple lonesome.
I pride myself on working under pressure, but I just... Oh, dear.
You'd think we'd be used to stuff like this in Ponyville. I still have nightmares.
It seemed simple when it started.
Oh boy. Really?
It's beautiful.
Yep. Nope.
I'm not gonna eat it.
Eat what? What is it?
She's gonna
I want to
propose.
see. Nope. Why not?
Because you have a big mouth.
Me? I keep tons of secrets, like Fluttershy's secret fear of clowns. Or that time I caught Twilight sleep-trotting through town. Oh, and did you know that Octavia went on a date with bulk biceps? Talk about an odd couple. I heard that... Oh, all right. Point taken. But we're pals, right? Comrades, amigos. Come on!
Viva la Mexico.
Big Mac is going to propose to Sugar Belle. Sugar Belle.
There's a mosquito here. There's a mosquito here. Okay, I knew I knew Big Mac was going to propose. Oh my gosh, I hope that she says yes. I really hope she says yes. I hope it's not going to be one of those things where she's going to be like, I think we should wait for a little while before we do this. You know, we haven't been dating very long. I hope it's not going to be that bullcrap. Like, just go ahead and get married. It's a shame, though, we won't get to see the wedding in the show. Or maybe we will. I don't know. Maybe it happens in this episode. I don't know. I was just hoping that...
Of course Big Mac asked me to help with his proposal. I'm the most romantic dragon I know.
It really is a curse having infinite powers. Every pony is always asking you to move a couch or help with a proposal.
Spill it! Every detail! Don't leave anything out!
Oh, do we have to hear all the details? Is that like a friend thing?
Question.
Yup. I don't talk much, so I want to show Sugar Belle how committed I am. First...
Okay.
You're making a picnic table that matches the shelf you made Sugar Belle for her shop when you had a crush on her, and you're setting up a romantic meal overlooking Sweet Apple Acres?
No.
Yup.
Oh, okay.
How did you figure that out?
If you were a hopeless romantic, you'd know that was the only logical choice.
Then...
You painted apples to leave around Ponyville with little riddles tied to the stem that will lead her up here to meet you?
Yup.
Seriously?
Now...
Yeah.
Oh, I know. You need a giant rhino named Dolores who can knit a romantic sweater for two.
Nope.
Come on. He needs food for the picnic. That was a gimme.
I do not get this game.
Okay, you finish your table, I'll pick up whatever you need to eat, and Discord would put all the apples in place.
I will?
Yup.
Oh my gosh! Your magic, you can just poof them all there in the same places.
From the sugar cube corner, look for your next clue. Red, delicious, sweet like you. Find it, you'll know what to do. He should stick to bucking apples.
Sugar Bell's gonna love it! I'll get the food. How long will it take you to place all the apples? Are you sure you put them in the right spots?
Those terrible riddles on the apples were very clear on the location. I'm sure that they were placed properly. I think, maybe. It doesn't matter. Oh, okay, fine. I'll double check.
She didn't see the apple. What are we gonna do?
Well, we could just give it to her.
That's not romantic. She needs to discover it.
Don't be such a drama dragon. I've precipitated liquid cocoa on Equestria and herded long-limbed Leporidae. I can certainly make a pony see an apple.
Hey, Mrs. Cake. I need to pick up a few things.
Oh, I'm afraid you'll have to wait. I'm a bit busy at the moment. Oh, is this sour cream or sweet cream?
Oh, it's kind of important. Maybe I could take some of these off your hooves?
No! Those are for something important, too.
All of them? There's 1, 2, 3, 4...
21! And yes, all of them.
Who needs 21 desserts?
I can't tell you. It's a secret. Come by later.
Later won't work.
Why not?
I can't tell you. It's a secret.
Put the vanilla in the thing.
Ugh! Is some pony else make these?
No. Why?
No reason.
Thank you.
Really?
These are perfect.
You know, if she's too busy to read the horribly written clues, maybe you should just tell her.
Oh boy. Uh-oh.
Listen up. Each of you has a job to do. Take a look at your stems. Well, tell me about it. But regardless, go to your designated location, deliver your messages, and make me proud. Dismissed.
Why do I get the feeling this isn't going to end well?
Is really lucky to have me as a friend.
Wait a minute.
Okay. 1 down, 20 to go. Then I can help you.
Wait a minute.
Maybe I can help you.
Mrs. Cake. Oh, I get
This
it.
is my thing.
Wait a minute.
Dragon breath and whoosh.
Is Sugar Bell having all these desserts made for Big Mac
And you can help me. Watch.
to have all? Is she doing? Does she have the same idea that he? You just caught the kitchen on fire. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
There's no need to sneak. The next apple is at the boutique.
Oh boy. Oh, she's cute.
At Twilight's castle, take a right. The next apple sits in plain sight.
What in the blazes is going on?
Oh, are you finally finished? I've been done for a while.
Hey! It's burnt out!
You know, thinking back, I probably could have been clearer which pony to deliver the messages to.
You think?
I sent them back to Sweet Apple Acres. Apples are terrible at taking directions. Couldn't even manage to stay in one location. Now bananas, whoa, are much better at listening.
What's going on?
Apples running everywhere and she didn't see the poem to get to the hilltop?
Getting her to the hilltop is easy, and not seeing the poems is actually a blessing when you think about it.
Why would you think sending flaming messages into my desserts would work? You've ruined all of them!
To To be honest, I tasted some, and burning them might have been an improvement.
What? I never!
Spike?
Oh, hey there, Big Mac. I bet you're wondering what...
Sugar Bell!
Big Mac?
Discord?
Mrs. K!
I do!
Nothing. I thought we were just saying each other's names.
I guess this can't get any worse.
As the Lord of Chaos, I'd advise against saying things like that.
Oh crap!
Save yourself!
What on earth? Oh my gosh. What the... Oh...
We have a bit of a reputation for getting carried away. Especially when
You think?
romance is involved.
Oh...
Wasn't the case with this. We were just helping Sugar Belle with her plan.
Sugar Belle had all those made
And the
for
last
to lure
one
Big
should
Mac.
just say, yeah.
So you're saying you want to put each one of those inside a dessert?
Well, since Big Mac's plan to send me a Hearts and Hooves Day pie with the message inside didn't go so well, I thought it'd be fun to do it right.
Aw, that's so romantic!
He's a pony of few words. I love that about him. So I thought I'd use as many words as possible to propose to him. All he has to say is,
Yup.
I can't wait for you to be a part of the family. You three played such a big part in Big Mac and I getting together. I'm glad you could help with this.
I love you, Big Mac. Would you like to spend the rest of our lives together? I hope you say yup. And each word has to go into a dessert? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoa, 21, I know.
Actually, it's 22. Mrs. Cake was kind enough to help me bake all the apple-flavored treats I made to get Big Mac to visit me in my old shop. But that one has the invitation for him to come here.
Oh, it's no bother. I do love a challenge. Did I add the sugar to this one or to that one? I think I've seen her add sugar to that bowl 6 times so far.
Now
Well,
you three go deliver that
Somebody's
pie.
going to get jacked up on
I
sugar.
have to get some flowers to spruce the place
Big
up.
Mac's going to be bouncing around like Pinkie Pie.
Oh, Spike and Discord are outside. If they figure out what we're up to, they'll spill the beans, and I want this to be a surprise.
I don't think they suspect anything. Why would they suspect that we're holding an invitation pie and that Mrs. Cake is baking a 21 dessert proposal? I can't believe I'm gonna have a sister-in-law!
You're the Discord of the family,
This is our
aren't you?
shot to make up for all the trouble we caused when Big Mac first asked Sugar Belle out. We can't give away the surprise. You need to play it cool. Right. How's this? Better? Come on, let's go find your brother.
Screwdriver. Nope.
Big Mac! He ain't here. Let's go. Hold on. That looks just like the shelf Big Mac made for Sugar Belle. Weird. Maybe we should wait here for him. He's bound to show up soon. You know, when I'm looking for something, Granny says it's best to check the least likely place. Come on!
Oh boy. There it is. The screwdriver.
Screwdriver.
Big Mac!
Oh! Hey, as long as you didn't take his rug, you're good.
Big Mac! Big Mac!
But you're always naked!
How is Sugar Belle supposed to propose to Big Mac if we can't even find him? Mrs. Cake isn't finished yet. We still have time. You know, when I'm looking for some pony, Granny says it's best to just stay in one place. Let's head back to the farm and wait. Big Mac is sure to show up soon. Well, don't just stand there. Come on!
Love is in the air.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Nice table.
Yep.
Who goes there?
You almost gave her a heart
Big
attack.
Mac? Oh, hey there, little dumpling. I just had the most peculiar dream.
It involved
Tiny,
apples.
but we really need to find Big Mac, so... It was about Grandpa, but it wasn't. And we were in outer space on some kind of mission to explore a strange new world.
If we get stuck listening to Granny, we'll never find Big Mac.
And Mudbriar was there, being as logical as ever. But his ears was all corny-like, and then Discord showed up, and, well, you know, he was pretty much the same.
Once she gets going, there's nothing in Equestria that can stop her.
Except for...
You sure about that?
Spike.
Oh,
Okay.
Hey there, Big Mac. I bet you're wondering what...
Sugar Bell.
Big Mac?
Discord.
Mrs. Cake.
What did I do?
Nothing. I thought we were just saying each
Like I said, I got the impression
Can't get any worse.
that Sugar Bell
As the Lord of
was
Chaos,
doing the same
I
thing to Big
devised
Mac. I think that's so cute.
It's coming! Save yourself!
You know, I remember before Applejack back in season 1 wanting to help repair Granny's hip. She looks like she can run just fine.
Discord.
Why does every pony immediately assume that this has something to do with me?
You love me. I love to grow like an apple tree. So let me ask, will you marry me?
Okay, but to be fair, the message did get the Sugar Bell.
Oh boy.
This whole story is being twisted to make it seem like it was all my fault, which it wasn't.
Who exactly are we talking
So
to
you
here?
were orchestrating a proposal? That's what I was doing!
Who are you proposing to?
Discord!
Me?
I love you.
How about you just make the... Yeah.
So the messages that were in the desserts were Sugar Bell's proposal to Big Mac before Spike set them on fire!
Oh, so I'm not the only one who messes things up, am I, Mr. High and Mighty Dragon?
Hey! Those desserts were ruined way before I ruined them.
Oh!
Not! Well, I may have mixed up a few ingredients. It was such a rush.
You should both be very disappointed in yourselves.
What about you and your apple monster?
Yes, but you all expect that of me.
All we wanted to do was make up for messing things up the last time. Sugar Bell, Big Mac, we're really...
They're gone.
Where'd they go?
I had a feeling they
Okay,
snuck
this
off.
time it really wasn't me.
I shouldn't have taken all those desserts at once. It's just, how can you say no to such a sweet idea?
Oh, sweet! I made a joke. In retrospect, Dragon Flame and baked goods aren't the best combo.
We felt like it was all our fault. Except for the apple monster. That was Discord. And Mrs. Cake messing up those recipes, and Spike burning the messed up recipes, and... The point is, we all felt bad for ruining Big Mac and Sugar Bell's proposals. Was all green, and then Grandpa looked at me all dramatical and says, where no pony has gone before. And whoosh, away we flew.
Okay then. Yay, finally.
Today was interesting.
Yep.
You okay?
The tree.
I'm sorry, Sugar Bell. I wanted everything to go right today. I wanted our love to be as perfect as my parents was when they planted these two trees together.
Aw.
Instead, it turned into a mess. Just like when I asked you out, just like Hearts and Hooves Day. No matter how hard I try, I always seem to mess up when it comes to you.
I think you've got things backwards.
What do you mean?
From everything you told me about your parents, they had to deal with things a lot tougher than some burnt desserts and an apple monster.
I guess that's true.
This apple tree and pear tree are stronger together. They'll survive whatever comes because they don't have to do it alone. They belong together. Like your parents and like us. Today was a disaster. But today was also the last day we're ever gonna have to do anything apart. From here on out, we'll be together. And we'll make sure everything always works out just right.
Sugar Belle, will you?
No, I'm
On 3,
sure. 1,
2, will you marry me?
We'll have to thank our friends for messing up so bad that they made it all work out perfectly.
Uh-oh.
Well, we've all made up, and we're here for a do-over. And this time, thanks to me, we've got it right. So why don't you two, you know...
I think they did okay without us.
And that's how we were responsible for the perfect proposal. Or should I say,
I'm tearing up.
proposal. If we hadn't messed up so bad, it wouldn't have worked out the way it did.
It's just like baking. Sometimes it's the mistakes that help you discover something truly special.
And when all the planning and grand gestures go
Oh my gosh, are we at the wedding?
mind you, the most romantic things are usually the simplest.
Are we at the
Which
wedding?
is what I knew all along.
Are we at the wedding?
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh, we're at the wedding! Oh my gosh, they're getting there! That's great! Oh my gosh!
It is my sincere pleasure to say, for my second Apple family wedding, that I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
You cute.
Happy marriage, happy apples, happy marriage.
Discord.
Oh, just let me have this one.
Happy marriage, happy apples, happy marriage, happy apples.
Now I just hope Sugar Belle and Big Mac don't go dying. Oh, that was so sweet. That was so sweet. Alright, this is one of my most favorite episodes right here of the whole show. It is. Oh, man. Great. This is one of my most favorite episodes of the whole show right here. It is. This is so sweet. Oh, I love it. It's so adorable. It's so heartwarming. So, yeah, as you can tell, I totally geeked out over the whole thing here. And it was just so freaking adorable. Spike called himself a hardcore romantic. I would have to say I am as well. Especially whenever it comes to cartoons. Especially whenever it comes to cartoon. But, yeah, this was so sweet. It was such an adorable thing. It was just beautiful. It was very interesting because there were the different gimmicks going on in the episode. A few simplistic gimmicks. Big Mac wanted to propose to Sugar Belle. But, of course, Spike and Discord ended up getting involved and tried to help Big Mac set everything up. And it didn't exactly turn out completely good at all. Which was honestly comical. Discord did exactly what I thought and would just use his magic to poof all of the apples that Big Mac had into the different locations. Spike questioned whether or not all the apples went to the exact locations, which is an interesting concept because I would think that Discord, being the king of chaos that he is, that whenever he poofed the apples into their locations, they would stay there. They would be in the exact locations. So it makes me wonder if Spike has to question whether or not the apples did go into the correct location. Does that mean that Discord doesn't have full control over whenever he magics something into a location, that it may be off to some degree? I don't know. And does that same theory apply also to unicorn magic and alicorn magic? I don't know. We've never had any instance of that in the show, so this is the first that I recall. At first, I didn't really know what was going on whenever Mrs. Cake made the remark that she had 21 desserts baked. I thought that, somebody was celebrating their 21st birthday, and at that point I thought any of the main 6 could be celebrating their 21st birthday. But as it turned out, Spike kind of did a little bit of a burn on Mrs. Cake. Like, they weren't exactly the best. I have to admit, I applaud Spike for having brass balls in this, for telling Mrs. Cake that that her baking wasn't exactly top-notch. Someone who specializes in that. So I admit, he had some brass balls. But I imagine now a sequel to Cupcakes where Mrs. Cake helps Pinky bake Spike into a pie or cupcakes. Yeah, I can totally see that. Spike accidentally ended up burning all of the desserts that Mrs. Cake had baked, and the apples that Discord had sent to their locations didn't exactly. They started following every pony around, running amok in the town until finally, and also the CMCs also got involved. The CMCs knew that Sugar Belle. We also learned that the CMCs knew that Sugar Belle was going to propose to Big Mac, which I thought was really adorable. Like I said, I was honestly afraid that what was going to happen at the end of the episode was that Sugar Belle would end up saying, let's wait a little while, let's not get married right now. I really thought I was afraid that was going to be the gimmick. I'm so glad that they did get married, because it was so adorable, so sweet to see that. I adore that. And I think it's also adorable that they were helping Sugar Belle out. I really also love and admire the bluntness of this episode with having Sugar Belle going to propose to Big Mac. Some people are a bit old school, like believing that only the guy should propose to the girl. And there have been instances before where a girl would end up proposing to a guy because maybe he was too shy, or maybe was afraid that she would say no. But she ended up proposing to him. I think that's so sweet. I think it's adorable. I think it's great that they did not completely go with the old school, with the old school beliefs that the guy should only propose to the girl. I think it's great that they did it here, and that both was going to propose to each other. I think it's so sweet. I think it's romantic, and it's just beautiful. It's a very beautiful thing. But the CMCs did try to help a little bit, and what ended up happening was the apples ended up coming together in one big thing, one big monster. Thankfully, it wasn't rampaging across Ponyville, but there was also one quick gimmick where the characters were talking to the camera. I don't know if they were talking to the audience and breaking the fourth wall in this. I think that's what they were going for. I was wondering if maybe at first they were talking to, like, Twilight or something. But the most beautiful part of this episode was whenever Big Mac and Sugar Belle whenever they come to the tree, or they go to the tree that Pear Butter and Bright Mac planted. And I love this little shot where it shows the camera looking through the heart of the tree, and it shows Big Mac and Sugar Belle. There's a very lovely dynamic between these two. There really is. Big Mac, he's soft-spoken, as is Sugar Belle. These two, they are really good, really great matches for each other. Both are soft-spoken. She's more formal and a bit more blunt than he is, but she's also very sweet. a little bit shy, but Big Mac, he's soft-spoken, but he's also kind of laid back. He's a little bit goofy and silly, but he's also very kind, and he's very honest, and there's not anything, like, Big Mac is definitely not going to be somebody who's going to be cheating on Sugar Belle, and Sugar Belle's not going to be cheating on him either, because I can see the connection between these two. And this is honestly a very beautiful moment, because here Sugar Belle just hears Big Mac out with his concerns, and she just listens, and then she ends up comforting him. She completely comforts him, and we find out that she knows about their parents, she knows about Big Mac, about Pear Butter and Bright Mac. And this little moment here, where she walks up to the tree, and she talks about Pear Butter and Bright Mac, about the bond that they shared. And she reveals here that Big Mac had told her about everything that had happened before, everything that he had found out in the Perfect Pair episode, about Pear Butter and Bright Mac wanting to get together, but their parents wasn't for it, and it was like a Romeo and Juliet style story. And so Pear Butter ended up staying. They ended up getting married, and she stayed with Bright Mac and the rest of the Apple family, and she never got to see her dad again. And I'm guessing both ended up dying before she could have a chance, before her dad got a chance to apologize or anything. He got to see her again. And Sugar Belle reveals that that Bright Mac and Pear Butter also had some difficult times that they ended up going through, that them getting together wasn't exactly smooth sailing either, that they had a very rocky start as well, but they made it work because they were determined, they were dedicated, they were loyal to each other, they wanted things to work out, and so they persisted through all those trials because they wanted to be together. And Sugar Belle reveals that it was their love that helped them to make it through. It was their loyalty and dedication to one another that helped them to push through and make things work. And this little scene, she tells Big Mac that they were able to overcome those trials because they had one another. They didn't have to do it alone. They had each other. And this little moment where she walks up to Big Mac, takes his hooves into hers, and tells Big Mac that those two belong together. And then she tells him that just like them, and she hugs him. This is so beautiful. It's so romantic. It's so sweet. It's adorable. It's so heartfelt. And this scene here is, this is just so beautiful. This is so romantic and so sweet, where the camera does a little pan to the side, a soft pan, and you see the sun shining right through the heart that the tree created together, as these two sit beneath this tree. And she tells Big Mac that they don't have to do anything apart again, and that they'll be together from now on. It's a very subtle thing. I don't know. But the moment that she makes the remark that everything works out all right whenever you're together, whenever she tells him that they never have to be apart again, that they'll be together now, that they'll be together, they never have to do anything apart, and that they'll make sure everything works out all right. The moment that she says that, there's a breeze that blows around them, and it's a very subtle thing, but I kind of want to believe it here that this is Bright Mac, that wind is like Bright Mac and Pear Butter smiling, agreeing, and being joyful for what Sugar Belle and Big Mac have here. I know it's subtle, but I think that it was I think that this may be a little nod or a little sign showing that Pear Butter and Bright Mac are watching over these two, and that they are happy with what Big Mac and Sugar Belle have. They're happy for them, and they can see their love right here. It makes me think of the episode of MLP where Applejack looked out the window and she saw 2 shooting stars whenever she made the remark about their parents. And it was a little sign that said that I think that their parents are always watching over them. And here, I believe that this little breeze was Bright Mac and Pear Butter welcoming Sugar Belle into the family. And possibly telling Big Mac, way to go, son, you know. But I know it was subtle, and the animators probably didn't, the writers probably, they may not have even intended for that little breeze to be a reference to that whatsoever, just something beautiful to add to this moment. But it's ironic that right after she said that, the breeze suddenly blew. And I want to believe that that was Bright Mac and Pear Butter, that breeze was them. Maybe that breeze was like a nice embrace from them, welcoming Sugar Belle into the family and being happy that Big Mac and Sugar Belle were together. That's what I want to believe. And this little moment right here, where they look up and they both start to ask each other to marry one another, and then they both blush and realize that they're speaking at the same time, and then they decide to speak at the same time. And then they both ask each other at the same time to marry one another. And then they both say yep at the same time. Oh, this is so sweet. And then he gives her a ring. And at first I honestly thought that the ring was like to go around her horn. But no, it's like a necklace for her to wear. And this little smile that she gives him, like, this is so sweet. It really is. This is such a little sweet moment. I mean, this is such a beautiful moment because right here, Big Mac and Sugar Belle are sitting in front of the rock that Bright Mac carved his and Pear Butter's initials, or their cutie marks, into a heart on. And this is the place where Bright Mac and Pear Butter planted this tree together. This is where they got married, and right here, Big Mac and Sugar Belle proposed to one another. I cannot imagine a more romantic, more fitting, more sweet location for this to have taken place. Okay, actually, I have to correct myself. I actually thought that it was the audience, but no, it was actually Applejack that they were talking to. And here Applejack ends up beginning to cry, and we get to see all their friends gather here to see this transpire. Of course, we see Burnt Oak here, Grandpere, to witness this. And of course, we get to see Double Diamond, Party Favor, and Night Glider as well, to see Sugar Belle end up getting married. And Sugar Belle looks, I gotta say, like, she looks great in that dress, and her hair looks cute like that too. And it's also beautiful because here, Big Mac and Sugar Belle are getting married right under the same tree that Big Mac's parents got married at, and it's so sweet. It's adorable. But yeah, this was a very, very sweet episode, and definitely one of my most favorite episodes of the whole show. And this is a very, very adorable, very romantic episode. It's not often we get an episode like this whatsoever that shows this sort of adorable romance. It's not often we get something like this. And we got it, of course, with The Perfect Pair, and it played out beautifully. And now we get to see it now with Sugar Belle and Big Mac. And like I said, it's interesting that they tried to get, their friends to help out, and their friends kind of ended up messing things up. But in the end, it still worked out perfectly, because realistically, what Sugar Belle said with their friends messing up perfectly, yeah, it worked out. It worked out better. Because if Big Mac had have got Sugar Belle to that bench that he made her, he would have proposed right there. And yeah, it would have been sweet, it would have been romantic, but for them to be here beneath this tree, this amazing symbol of love and dedication and loyalty, this, for them to propose to one another here at this spot, and then to get married at the same spot, again, if their friends hadn't messed up, none of this would have taken place. And so this was beautiful. This was so sweet. This was absolutely, this was beautiful. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Big Mac was feeling upset because he felt that, you know, him trying to ask Sugar Belle out, him trying to woo her before, but whenever she lived in her old village, it wasn't really working out. It wasn't working. Him trying to woo her and try to get the CMCs to help out, it wasn't working out completely like he planned. It did miserably, but it still worked out because they were still together. But because they still got together. And then of course there was the heartswarming thing as well. And so, and then there was this right here. But this is a very sweet episode because regardless, Big Mac was doubting himself. He was doubting, he was really doubting himself, and basically feeling like he couldn't really do anything right. He couldn't impress her the way that he wanted to. But regardless, Sugar Belle was there for him. She wasn't upset. She wasn't doubting what they had between them whatsoever. In fact, she felt strongly about what they had between them. She felt strongly about him and about what she felt for him. And she comforted him in a beautiful way, reminding him that their parents also went through a major struggle as well before they ended up managing to get married, that they still had some struggles, but they pushed through because that's what you do. You're going to encounter tough times, but if you're really dedicated and loyal to one another, then you're going to push through that because you have one another. You're not going to let something get between you. And she basically told him that. And she showed her dedication and her loyalty to him because she told him that Big Bright Mac and Pear Butter, they had each other, and they made things work out. This is a really good metaphor in a way for today's modern world because, if I'm not mistaken, I've read before that relationships, that solid relationships, long-lasting relationships are, that I remember reading before, that it's on a decline because people just aren't willing to stick. I think people just aren't ready or willing to make it work, to stick together. They think it's going to be peaches and cream all the time, and then whenever something difficult happens, they're ready to call it quits. They're not ready for that commitment. They're not ready for that dedication or loyalty or that commitment to make things work. They think it's going to be easy all the time, and it's not. And this is a really good metaphor. Like, if you're really dedicated and loyal and you want things to work out, you're going to make things work out the best you can. And I really think that that's a very good, very relatable concept and idea. And even though Big Mac was doubting himself here, he wasn't doubting them, but it took Sugar Belle to revitalize, to rejuvenate that spark in him. And she told him that Big Mac and Pear Butter, they had struggles, but they made it work. And basically, she and Big Mac might have struggles, but they'll make it work. and they don't have to do it alone. He doesn't have to do it alone because she's going to be right there next to him, and that they will make things work out okay. And it was very, very beautiful. And like I said, I believe at this moment, whenever this breeze blew, I could just see an image, like a transparent image of Bright Mac and Pear Butter, like in the clouds, smiling and shedding a tear and kind of, you know, leaning against each other and hugging as they look down at these two. And I could see that. But this was absolutely beautiful. And it's very, very true, because regardless of whether it's a friendship or a relationship, you know, you have to have dedication and loyalty, and you have to be honest, and you have to be committed, and to make things work out. And this was so beautiful, and I absolutely love this episode. I really do. This is definitely one of my most favorite episodes of the whole show. Now, I gotta say, my only nitpick that I have with this episode as a whole is I do feel personally that the concept of the wedding and the proposal was too short. I'm not going to deny that. It did feel too short. I kind of had this idea in my head of what personally I myself would have done, and I'm not whatsoever saying I would have done it better, but one thing that I myself probably would have done was had one episode where Big Mac proposes to Sugar Belle. I love, honestly, here that Big Mac and Sugar Belle propose to each other. Beat the crap out of my idea. I fully support that. I'm totally fine with that. But and then have another episode after that where they're like preparing for the wedding. Sugar Belle is trying to shop for a dress. Big Mac's trying to find the tux. And then have another episode where they do get married, and it shows them getting married. And I think, you know, but it's interesting here that, of course, their closest friends were there. Like, you didn't see the rest of the main six there at the wedding. It was just mainly closest friends and family. And I know some people probably wonder why that Twilight and the rest of the main six weren't there, but honestly, they were friends with Big Mac, but they weren't as close to Big Mac as they were with their other friends. And so I think probably this was more just a very small little wedding, you know, with just closest friends and family. And I can see that. I can see that. You know, like, obviously if you're going to get married, I know there are some people that have got married before. I don't know them personally, but I know there have been times where people have got married and they've only invited their closest friends and family. Although it would be kind of awkward, I imagine, to after the wedding, you run into someone and they're like, oh my gosh, you got married? Why didn't you invite me? I need a Kit Kat bar. But I can kind of see them not really doing it, because animating every single one of the characters into the scene, the rest of the main six, with everything else that was animated here, yeah, it would have been taken more time. But this was a very, very sweet episode. Absolutely love it. And also, I really would have loved to have seen an episode that would show Sugar Belle now living on the farm. And, like, it's early morning, she and Big Mac come down for breakfast, and, like, she gets to eat breakfast with Big Mac, and maybe go out and help him in the field. And I think that would have been a very sweet thing to have seen, you know, to have actually seen that happen in an episode. I think that would have been adorable to have seen. But, of course, you know, hopefully we still have fan art of that and fan fiction. Heck, I can write a fan fiction of it, no big deal. I could totally do that. But, yeah, this was a very, very sweet episode. And it's so close. Like, this is the last episode before the finale. This was episode 23, and we got episode 24, 25, and 26 left, and that's it. So this is the last episode before the finale. This is the last regular episode before the finale. So, yeah. I'd say, yeah, it wrapped things up pretty well. This was very sweet, very, very adorable. And I love it. It's very cute. It's very, very cute. And now I'm going to be getting ideas for fanfics that I can write with these two. But yeah, this is very, very adorable. This is one of my most favorite episodes of the whole show. And I absolutely love it. I absolutely adore it. It's very sweet. It's very romantic. It's so cute. And like I said, I can't imagine a more romantic setup than to have Big Mac and Sugar Belle propose to each other at the same place that Pear Butter and Bright Mac ended up getting married at. And then to have Big Mac and Sugar Belle get married at the same tree as well. It's beautiful. It's romantic. And like I said, it's so cute. I love it. I'm a sap for like the cartoon romance. And also, I think, like I said, I hope that now Big Mac and Sugar Belle don't go dying like Bright Mac and Pear Butter did. I know it's a grim thing, but it's like imagine a family curse. You get married, you die. But yeah, that was my thoughts on this episode, and I love it. It's so cute. I love it. It's so sweet. Also, I have to say, I also think it was adorable that Big Mac and Sugar Belle had both similar ideas with trying to lead one another with a little with riddles and clues, trying to lead one another to a location so that like they could ask, like they were using that to ask that one another to marry each other. I think it was so sweet and cute that they both had a very similar idea, and then they ended up asking each other at the same time to marry one another. Honestly, I can't imagine something more sweet, more romantic. As I said, it would have been old school to go with the concept of Big Mac proposing just to Sugar Belle, but I love it that Sugar Belle was also going to propose to him as well, and that it wasn't the complete old school thing that like Sugar Belle was up front and she was formal or she was blunt about it, and she was like, I want to marry you, dang it. And then at the end they ended up speaking together in unison and ask each other to marry one another. That was so sweet. Oh, that's so cute. I love it. It's interesting also because we didn't get to see this. We didn't get to see this in the show we did get to see it with Pear Butter and Bright Mac, and it was adorable. We did get to see it with them. With Bright Mac asking Pear Butter to marry him. It was adorable. But we didn't get to see it with Shining and Cadence. Like, we didn't get to see him ask Cadence to marry him. Like, we just found out like Twilight did. Oh, they're getting married. Okay, we're invited. And so we didn't get to actually see that. And then suddenly, not long after Cadence and Shining get married, out pops Flurry Heart. In the words of that guy in the words of the villain from the Incredibles, they got busy! Very busy, very quickly. Like, no time. Like, let's just stay married for a little while before we have kids. Nope. But, yeah, this was definitely one of my favorite episodes of the whole show, right here. And this is definitely, I'd say this episode is up there. It's up there with The Perfect Pair. But Perfect Pair is still above this episode, really because Perfect Pair had more sweet and romantic moments that played out throughout the episode. It was just, pretty much one big heart tug that you got to see with the episode. With this one, the romantic parts kicked in with Big Mac wanting to propose to Sugar Belle, and then later you find out that Sugar Belle wanted to propose to Big Mac, and then we didn't really get anything else romantic until the end, whenever Big Mac and Sugar Belle sneaked away from everyone else. And so, yeah, it didn't have the amount of romantic and heartwarming moments in it that, continue to flow in the same manner that Perfect Pair did, but it did still have a very sweet, very loving, and romantic ending to it. And so yeah, it's still definitely up there for me with Perfect Pair, and it's still one of my most favorite episodes. So I gotta say to everybody that did this episode, to the writers, animators, everybody, thank you all so much for doing this episode. Thank you all so much for giving this beautiful conclusion, this next chapter in the story for Big Mac and Sugar Belle. Thank you so much for doing this episode. Thank you all so much for doing this episode. This was adorable. It was sweet. Thank you all so much for doing this. This was adorable. Personally, I absolutely love it. And thank you all so much for doing this episode. And thank you guys again for joining. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts as well. And thanks again for joining me. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.